What is happening, everybody out there? Welcome. It's Press Play again. Matt keeps trying these new ways of introducing our show, and it makes me laugh every single
I
time.
think we nailed that one. I really do. I'd give that an
the
8.
thing is, I laugh, I'm about to laugh, and then Omar is laughing at me being ridiculous.
I'm looking right at you.
It makes me laugh harder.
Well, it was a step in the right direction because you just had a little giggle this time. I think if you listen to last week's episode, it was like full blown cackle. Like,
but that's the thing. I'm trying to hold off because I'm like, these poor people the few people who listen to us, I'm like, I want them to come back. And they're not going to come back if we start every episode with me just like obnoxiously laughing.
The podcast would be even funnier because people listening to it, they just hit play and then the first thing they hear, because the intro doesn't have any music. It's just
laughing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. Anyway, what's up, people? It's Press Play again. It sounded like I was about to go into a rap. I'm not. I can't rap.
Just try,
but
though.
it's me, Bailey, your host, along with my favorite people, Omar Zaki and Matthew Austin. Where y'all both did the peace sign. That was really cute.
No, I saluted.
Oh,
yeah.
You should have just went with it because it was cuter when y'all both did the peace sign. We're here to discuss the second episode of Loki, and I'm very excited to do that. The variant, which. Again, all these cool ass names. I love it. Before we get to that though, I'm gonna give all the like spiel of what you need to do to be a part of our community in life. It's just us three. That's the community. You can listen to us on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. You can give us 5 stars, please, and a review. That would be great. And you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Instagram at Press Play Again and Twitter at Again Press. I usually say those the other way around, and I was like, whoa, this was going to be a tough one for me. But you can do that. We post fun shit, cool shit, okay shit sometimes.
All kinds of it.
Yeah, and then we will be posting our Loki reviews and discussions, whatever you would have it, on Wednesday nights because we're on top of our game for this. We're really excited to talk about it. And we're going to be posting our Bad Batch episodes on Monday mornings, but not this week, as you'll see when it comes out, because it's going to be tomorrow because my computer crapped out on us.
How many people do you think are out there
like,
where was the Bad Batch episode?
At least 5.
At
least
5. I like that.
Again, people. They're like, fuck them, okay? We need our Bad Batch. I'm kidding. People probably don't really care. But anyway, so yeah, that's the whole spiel. I'm done now. But you can comment on all our YouTube videos, and we like to discuss everything with you guys. So if you have things you want to say about these episodes, feel free to say it because we love talking.
I had a nice conversation with a lady on our Cruella video.
I saw that, man.
Oh, yeah,
I was at work and I just went through all the fucking comments that you've had. Just thinking like you're probably in your room, just randomly just replying to these people.
I'm sitting there doing anything else, and I get like the buzzer notification, like, there's been a comment on Press Play again. Let me get in there and talk to them.
Like furiously typing, how excited. Oh God, I just did like so many things to my computer by doing that. I just have to be so fucking funny all the time, right? It's so annoying. Anyway, so guys, I am dying to talk about this episode with y'all. I watched it again early in the morning. I was itching to talk about it immediately, and then I'm like, no, we gotta wait till tonight. So dumb. I'm kidding. It's great. So the episode is called The Variant, which is super cool because clearly he ends up wearing a cool ass jacket with it literally on the back, and I thought that was really funny and really cool. But tell me, Omar, I'm starting with you. What did you think of this episode?
Off the top of my head, okay, because I can't really remember between Endgame and this morning. Nothing exists. Everything just This is the best fucking thing MCU has given us since Endgame. Okay, there's nothing that even comes close. I just think it's blowing my expectations, way beyond my expectations, because I kind of had no expectations. But this is amazing. This is probably my favorite music in the entire history of the MCU. I mean, it's amazing. My only complaint I'll say with this episode, and honestly, I guess the first episode too, besides Loki and Owen Wilson, the acting seems a bit a bit off, and the writing is a bit lazy too, in my opinion. I mean, if it's not for those two like actors on screen, if it's any scene without them, it's not as engaging.
But
when it's those two, oh my god, they're just beyond fucking amazing.
By writing, you mean like the dialogue that the other characters are saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's lazy. You know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's it. That's my only complaint. But besides that, man, I think what we're doing with Loki, like they're expanding the universe in a way like the MCU's never gone before, and I think it's just there's so many. Oh, that's what I want to say. When right before we hopped on here, we were talking about the episode being 50 minutes long. I didn't realize that either, right? So I'm 20 minutes in thinking, oh my God, this is Bad Batch all over again. We're not really making progress. We're not going to do shit. And 10 minutes after that, just shit just starts fucking off the rails, man. I loved it. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I almost got screwed on the runtime too because I just watched it. What's wrong?
Guys.
Hello? You're
What's
here?
Up?
I froze for a second. Y'all were frozen, and I was like, shit, it's happening again. I'm glad you loved it, though. Matt, what did you think?
Real quick, off of Omar's story, yeah, the runtime almost screwed me, too. I was, an hour ago right now, I was probably just getting out of my car with my Chipotle in hand, thinking I had all the time in the world to watch this episode. And yeah, I sat down and went to play it, and it's like 54 minutes. I was like, holy shit. And I literally, like, I nailed it, because we hop on and do this at 8. And it was like the episode ended at 8. I was like, perfect. But yeah, that's cool that the episodes have been longer. Yeah, right there with Omar too on this. I absolutely loved it. We were so high on the first episode. I was like, I wonder if the second one's going to be able to like kind of keep momentum with that. And like, I really think it did. I think it was just as good. I think it was just as interesting. The fact that it's that long too, a lot got to happen in it. Because the first half was a little bit slower in terms of kind of just like big plot points happening, but it was all necessary stuff. I don't really notice no side characters or anything has really stood out to me as being bad. But I guess like thinking about it, like I don't know, like the truth is Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, right? That's his name. Like they are just carrying the show anyway. So I definitely see what you're talking about, but it hasn't really been an issue for me. And yeah, man, that whole, like, we're going to talk about it, obviously, so I won't get in, like, super into detail, but that last just 15 minutes at Roxcart or whatever, just insane. The music's so good. Lots of twists in this episode, too. I loved it. I thought it was just as good as last week's. I'm all in.
I loved it, too. Surprise, surprise. Who would have thought, you know? I do agree with Omar. I do think it's one of those things where, like, when some of the side characters are acting, it feels like you're watching a play instead of a TV show.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and it's only because they're next to such like seasoned veteran great actors, you know what I mean? Like they've been doing it for so long and they've been in so many big production type things that I feel like it would be hard for anybody to kind of step up and be on that level. And I think that's what's great. Like Disney, I think, is taking risks on getting actors that are smaller and haven't been in a lot of things. And I think that's really cool of them to do. But I do think like it makes this show not like worse. It just isn't at that like you can compare it to like True Detective or something like that.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like it's not on that like level of
exactly.
acting wise. Not that it needs to be, because I adore this show and I have adored both episodes. I honestly liked this episode more.
Same.
Which
by the end,
I think the thing I appreciated the most out of this episode was this is the first time in any of the shows that we've had it come out so far where I actually was really scared and really tense at the end of the episode. Because I was like, this really is like creepy, and it really does seem like there's a lot at stake and we don't know what's going to happen. And we clearly didn't, obviously, because nobody could have predicted what happened. Or people probably did, but we didn't. We thought it was going to be fucking Tobey Maguire. So I just want to throw that out there. But I loved it. So I think it was fantastic. And the things that me and Omar are talking about, it's like, we say it because we feel like we need to say it because we're all like, we got to say it. But it doesn't really matter because we're like, we enjoy the shit out of it.
Right. It's not like an actual negative. It's just.
I mean, this episode was a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
At the end of the day, it's a 10 out of 10. Absolutely, dude. The scene. It's not really the scene, but what scared me the most, like what was the most intense, I feel like the relationship between Owen Wilson's character and Loki is so like fragile. To me, it's like a relationship. It's like a it's almost like they're lovers, really, if you think about it. Okay, and it just scared me that I don't want Loki to betray his trust, and at the end, you almost kind of see that happening, and I'm like, dude, I was just so scared, man.
And that's exactly like, so we might as well just start talking about the episode, but like, so that's something I think you see even more in this episode is the buddy cop relationship between them two. And they do it so much better than I ever could have expected. Like, it's the same as Omar saying, I genuinely don't want either of them to betray each other because I love their love.
Right?
Like, I support their love.
Yeah, like I don't want to get to that point in the show, even though it seems like it's inevitable and it could be just next week.
Could already be happening.
Yeah, we could already, the buddy cop relationship could be over now.
Yeah,
but I agree. It's just seeing them together on screen is just so much fun. But I imagine they've got more in store with that. So.
No, I'm sure they do. Also, I need to bring this up, and I know y'all will both appreciate it, but tell me how awesome it is that they literally turned Loki into fucking Sherlock Holmes. Because that's like cool. What he was in this episode.
I'm going to say this. This is the first time, this episode, just an hour ago, this is the first time I actually think, like, I've always enjoyed Loki. I've always thought Loki was, like, charming and entertaining, whatever. This is the first time that I think he's fucking cool. Like, I want to be Loki when I grow up.
Yes,
like, I thought he was so fucking cool, dude.
He was like
so fucking
cool, but still goofy in a sense. But like the goofiness he has, you're like, damn,
that's
kind of sexy. He's got that little, he got the jacket on with the little popped up collar, and you're just like, all right, Loke, this is great.
Loke.
But he literally acts like Sherlock Holmes in this.
Dude,
and then,
so badass.
Him and Owen Wilson are kind of just like trying to figure out like what is the next step. And Owen's doing his whole mind game thing where he's like, I can only get him to work hard at figuring this out if I turn it into a competition. So like he turns it all into competitions, and I love that. And I'm like, man, y'all are so good together. End up together at the end of the show. That's like, I want this show to end with them being like partners that fight crime.
I'm in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would love for Loki's kind of like send off after everything. Like he needs to just work for the timekeepers. Just work with Owen Wilson.
So fucking badass.
That's perfect.
I didn't even think about that. Oh god, I would love that so much.
But that's because like we have no idea where Loki's story's even going to go because they killed him. Like he's not technically alive right now. So the only way he can survive and stay in this universe is if he stays here, which he should, right?
Or if they
it just makes the most sense.
I imagine his whole end game of talking to the timekeepers, at least before what happened in this episode, was if he did everything right, that he would try to convince them, like, hey, let's just insert me back into the main timeline some kind of way.
Like bribe them or something.
Yeah. Those lizard
But that's the thing, like, so even though this is at the end of the episode, like, he kind of is talking to his variant self and saying, like, join me, like, I want to, like, take over the TVA pretty much. But do you believe that, or do you think he was just using that as, like, a trying to get him to, like, tell him what his plan
you know
is?
That's not his actual self, right? That's not his variant self.
Yeah, I know, but at the time we didn't know that.
Like, it's not even Lady Loki.
We don't know for sure. Nope. We don't know for sure.
No, okay. Well, check Twitter, buddy.
Here's my question.
Credits.
Check Twitter, buddy.
Credits.
I know. So I pulled up the kind of like Den of Geek article.
I didn't watch all the credits.
No, not a scene. Look at the actual credits.
Oh, they say what her name is.
So apparently somebody down the line made a mistake. The English, it says lady.
No.
It says variant, but in another language. Look at the fucking name.
What does it say?
Is it wait, hold on. I'm in the Den of Geek
is it
article.
Sylvie?
Yes.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Is that not the same thing?
No.
Lady Loki? No, that's Enchantress, right? Isn't Sylvie Enchantress?
Sylvie, well, on the Den of Geek article, it says Sylvie Lushton was a regular human living in Broxton, Oklahoma, until one day shortly after Asgard reappeared over her hometown following Ragnarok. Long story short, Loki gave her powers just to mess with her in the comics.
Yeah, and I think she becomes Enchantress.
Right. So she's not Loki,
Whoa.
if that's what it is. Yep. That sucks if that's ruined because of a mess up in the credits. Wow.
Every damn show they do, something gets screwed up.
Yeah, because the English version literally says variant. right?
Oh,
and then
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
That
when I
somebody fucked up.
sucks.
Someone's getting fired.
when I started
For
reading this,
real,
yeah,
though.
I was like, that's cool that they have this set up because even people that know the comics can kind of just think it could be either right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if they went ahead and said that, then they might have gave it away that it's not
Yeah.
Lady Loki.
I think it's one of those things where you kind of just it's like not 100%. Like it's probably 98% that it's
This
not
again.
Lady Loki.
Look,
But
look.
I
This
like to hang
again.
on. I'm literally holding like a flower petal. My mom left some flowers in my room.
Oh, those are
Oh.
nice.
So I'm playing with them. I think we need to just leave it up. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're just like messing with us.
Here's
You
the
know,
thing. Either way,
Luke
she scared the
Skywalker.
fuck out of me. Yes, Luke Skywalker. But
There you
dude,
go.
either way, like she could be Lady Loki. She could be a variant. She could actually be Loki. I don't give a shit. Creep me out. I
Wait.
was scared.
So y'all know when when Loki and Owen Wilson or Mobius, I need to start saying his
Mobius,
actual
yeah.
name.
Mobius.
I keep forgetting his name.
When they are like discussing at their table, like they're trying to figure out where the Loki variant could be
Yeah.
hiding, and they start talking about like the bubble gum. Did y'all think I was immediately like, oh, it was the kid in the beginning?
No, I didn't think that.
Oh,
I thought back
my
to the
God.
kid
They were
at the beginning.
Yeah, they were like
but-
candy. They found it where the kid is, and I was like, oh,
There's no way. There's no way.
the
you thought
Loki
that. There's
going
no way.
around.
There's no
I
fucking
swear
way.
to God, I was like, the Loki
my
going
God.
around that's killing people is just like this kid, which is crazy. I was like, that's gonna be fucking crazy. That like a kid's
I
just
think-
murdering people.
I think the main problem is we're doing this normal thing, right? We're watching this at 7 p.m. and you're waking up, crack of dawn, 4 o'clock.
Those dream
just-
thoughts are still flowing.
yeah.
Yo,
So it's
I feel like I'm
a little
just
loopy
like
up there.
completely out of it watching this show, and as like the music's playing and stuff, I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever seen. I'm like
First
so
thing in the
like
morning.
out of it.
Um,
But I think all the stuff like with them figuring out where he is and then having the realization of who it is and like where they're hiding or whatever. I think that whole sequence with him and Owen Wilson was like really, really cool. And then they go to like an apocalypse.
yes. Yeah,
That
cool.
was
badass.
all very cool. Like that they figure out and prove it to us, but in a really cool way that if you go to a place that is literally doomed and going to die, nothing can happen. Nothing will change
Yeah.
if they go and fuck with the timeline, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, that was a great way
I
of-
just thought that was very cool.
That was a really cool way of explaining that to us, since a lot of this show, or a lot of the information in the show is new information for us. It's like kind of heavy-handed stuff. So yeah, kind of shit like them going to freaking Pompeii was
Yeah, I know,
a
that
wild
was
way to
fucking
kind of explain that, and it was a
intense,
cool revelation. Kind of seeing him figuring it out as the just like volcano ash is just heading towards him.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And he's just
The-
fucking hyped about it for
Yeah.
some
He's
reason.
like,
Hyped out of his
he's
mind.
he's like smiling with a thumbs
Yeah.
up, and there's
Like,
just like
"Let's
ash
go."
coming.
Can
It's
we
Yeah.
just go backwards real quick to the first conversation they had, because I thought that
Time
was
travel?
very no. Because I thought it was really important. It was a very important conversation that they were having. When you first see him, I think in the cafeteria, where like Loki's like, okay, do you actually believe in all this? Like, do you really think you are? That was
That was
that was
deep.
religion right there, man.
Oh, yeah,
that
it
was a
was.
very deep conversation that the
They-
MCU did not have to go there.
No.
But they wrote it and it happened, and I think it was great. I really
Well,
do.
It's not even just that. They like sat there and discussed it for like 4 or 5 minutes, literally the meaning of the existence of life. Like
Right.
shows and like stuff in Marvel, especially like other shows do that, or even DC might fool with it some. I said DC really weird, but
DC.
Marvel doesn't
Icky.
do shit like that
Yeah.
ever. So the fact that they're sitting there discussing religion and beliefs and the existence, like the meaning of existence, was, and I thought about that too, Omar. I even like wrote that down because I was like, oh my god, like this is
like, what's going on?
this is like a deep ass conversation. Like that, and when Loki was like reading through all the papers to like try and find clues, and you see him reading about like the
Destruction
like,
of-
apocalypse and
yeah.
destruction of and Ragnarok and all of that. He's like, it zooms in on his eyes and he's just like tearing up, and I was like, they shoot this show beautifully.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
their
No, I agree.
choices and angles and everything, it's just very cool. So God, all of that was phenomenal.
Yeah, I
Right.
really liked that conversation they had where what y'all are talking about, where Mobius is kind of talking about like existence is chaos, right? Isn't that what he says?
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's really cool that they have a character that's as like I guess grounded as he is. That's the one saying this because I feel like you just kind of already respect him. You kind of just know he's somebody
Yeah.
that seems like he kind of has his shit figured out and his demons under control. And yeah, he's just basically like, look, you believe what you believe, and you just kind of accept that and roll with it. So I liked him doing that. I also can't get enough of just like y'all are saying the visual style of this. Is like it is shot beautifully for a show
so
that we
cool.
imagine uses a shit ton of CGI with the or green screen and all of the like hallways and corridors and the big open
Right.
areas. Like it actually looks really really good. It's not like that bad green screen where you're like I can tell they're just standing in front of a wall. Like they do a
Yeah.
really good job with that to make it still feel cool and like believable. I feel.
I think that is very helpful that they styled the show the way they did, like basing it kind of with a 70s, 60s style.
Mhm.
It kind of makes you forget about things needing to look perfectly real, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
Like the stuff they're playing with is so out there and fake feeling that you don't care if it's fake, if that makes sense.
Right. Because it's got more of that
So-
like retro-y sci-fi vibe to it, not so much like the like holy shit, this is like
Yeah.
the year 3000 something.
Speaking of sci-fi, how cool was it when they go to the hurricane that they think, which I was like, "Whew, hits a little too close to
Yeah.
home here, us little people over here in New Orleans." Like, whew. But they, first of all, they did that. Then they said it was like a category 8, or like I looked it up and they're like,
Oh my God.
so it's in the future, it's ranked like a disaster level 10 or something, which is really high. I was like reading all of this. But then they're like, because it's a hurricane, but it's a category 8. And I'm like, holy shit.
I wonder
Like,
if Nola survived, dude. Holy
oh,
shit.
we would be
We'd be
like
done.
Atlantis.
That's 30 years from now, guys.
I know, we will be here. And maybe this city, because it might be
Yes.
underwater. We don't even know. But so all of that's happening, but then you see this futuristic grocery store, and I'm like, what a cool ass way to show the future. Like you just see
Yeah.
like holograms and neon lights, but it's just like a normal store that people go to. And they walk in and all the what are they called? Not the timekeepers, the agents that they have. I can't remember their names for some reason.
Who
The agents for the
of-
timekeepers, or are they called timekeepers for the
No,
TVA?
so the timekeeper, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, the timekeepers are the three. Well, they refer
right.
to
So
them
the
as lizard
agents,
people.
whatever.
Yeah,
the people,
we'll call them agents.
We're
We're not geniuses, people.
The people that go in, they are like really harsh and cold-hearted to these people who are all about to die, and almost it's like literally like they're scared. Calm the fuck down, and they're like they're about to die. Who cares? I'm like, holy shit, this is like
Yeah.
dark. Like all these people are literally about to lose their lives, and it's just the whole end of this episode blew my mind.
Did you?
I wasn't
guys-
expecting it at all.
Did you guys notice when? Okay, so at the very end, when it shows the main timeline starting to branch, I didn't notice that there were names of places on that. But on
I didn't
this
either.
on
I
this
didn't
Den
either.
of Geek article, it says that these are the places that are mentioned as it starts to branch, and there's some shit on here. Vormir, Asgard, fucking Titan, like all of these
Wow.
places.
I actually
Xandar
wanted to
from
talk to you guys
Guardians.
about that.
Oh my god, Ego too. What's up?
Because obviously WandaVision, how it ends, obviously is going to have some implications on
Mhm.
the MCU. Same with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I get that, but I don't think it's that huge of an impact, right? Like, okay, we have a new Captain America. I mean, that's huge, yeah.
That's
But I
huge.
don't think the show as a whole. I don't think the
Sure.
show as a whole. Like, I don't think a lot of things that happen in the show are going to impact the MCU that much, really. I mean, I think it's just kind of like their own story. But with this, and I wasn't expecting this, I think what ends up happening here. I mean, dude, you're screwing around with the time,
Yeah.
right? You're screwing around with like
The
versus.
unscrewable.
Right, the unscrewable. So I really think what happens here, I don't know if it's gonna rewrite some characters or what exactly, but by the time we're finished with the show, I just can't even imagine what we're gonna have in the MCU. I can't imagine what it does to a character like Iron Man, right? I mean,
Right.
it's gonna impact a lot.
Well,
for
and that's
the
the
next
thing.
phase.
Like, think about the movie that hasn't even come out yet with Multiverse of Madness
And
with Doctor
Spider-Man.
Strange.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm
Spider-Man.
saying. Like, Doctor Strange feels like the only Marvel character we know that seems like they could handle or deal with something like this.
Right.
So if this show somehow involves that movie, that would be cool as hell. Especially with like obviously how much effort and time and money they put into this show, because it definitely feels like their highest like level of shows so far. So clearly they put a lot of effort into it. I don't know. I could just be talking out of my ass. I love this show so much already. I kind of just want it to be involved in more things because we only get
There's
6
no way
episodes.
it's not.
I think this is, like y'all are saying, this is opening the doors too wide for it to just when this is all done, just kind of close up and be like, we don't hear about the timekeepers anymore. Like, I imagine this has to link to other shit. Like, Multiverse of Madness is the easy answer, and Spider-Man, since we are pretty sure that it's going to involve crazy like shit and other Spider-Men and whatnot. But even like the Eternals and stuff that we don't really know much about, I feel like all that's got to tie into this, and this is the way of introducing that, just this other side of the MCU that was going on this whole time, and we just didn't know about it. Like that is really cool the way they're doing it.
So like all the stuff that happens in the grocery store where like Loki is talking to the people whose minds are like taken over. First of all that was really cool. And like that big old dude that comes and starts beating the shit out of Loki. I was like, this is actually whoever that actor was. I was like, he's really selling it. Like he really looks like he wants to beat the shit out of this guy. So I was like kind of worried for him. I was like, holy, this is a lot. That dude is huge. But then all the stuff that happens where like she has been stealing the time bombs or whatever they are and rigged them to somehow do what they did where they opened these portal doors to just completely like they say they bombed the sacred timeline. That sounds like the worst possible thing.
It really does.
Like
in the entire MCU.
Like in the entire universe, bombing the sacred timeline sounds like that is something that we will have like repercussions for a long, long time. Like there's no way they fix that in this show.
What did,
with 4 episodes left?
What did your girl that was the one that kind of approved Mobius's mission? What did she grab? Was that just like a staff she grabbed off the wall?
Looked like it.
Yeah.
Looked like it.
She's going to war, dude.
She grabbed some sort of weapon. But I don't know. She was also kind of cool too. Like I wasn't sure about her in the first episode, but in this episode when she talks to Owen Wilson and kind of like approves his mission, I was like, man, I kind of like her character a little bit. But it also like with her office and like seeing the statues of the timekeepers and stuff, like it kind of makes me think these guys seem like villains for some reason.
Who, the
I don't know
timekeepers?
why. Yeah, like they seem like not great for some. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe. Maybe it's because they have giant sculptures of them throughout like this entire world they're living in, but there's something about them that I'm just like, I don't think this feels
I don't think they're supposed to be that. I don't think they're the heroes or the villains. I think they're in between. They've got a job to do.
Well, yeah, because
they
think
feel
about it.
like they're thought about as gods, and that's what's weird to me.
But like gods that are like in the middle, because think about it.
Yeah, they're not good or bad.
Because everything
like
we assume that happened with Thanos was in their eyes just like, this is meant to happen. The Avengers are going to come in and clean this up, so we just got to let it happen. There was no like worrying about like the trauma that the universe would go through, stuff like that. So they very much are just kind of like mid-range, middle-tier people, middle-tier gods.
So if Lady Loki is not Lady Loki, she's actually Sylvie. It's interesting that when she took her hood off, she like had horns, right? Like she looked similar.
Well, I think that
they're trying to make you think for sure, right?
And then someone fucked up.
Yeah.
That's probably out of a job now.
Oh man, that blows, because it's like that is really clever to have her, even if that's like a part of her persona where she's like, you did this to me, Loki, so I'm going around and impersonating you and like doing all these horrible things. That would be cool. I would actually really enjoy that. But now that probably is the case, it just sucks that we know that already. So
I mean, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
I know. I told you I'm hanging on that 2%.
I'm cool with that. For the sake of this podcast, let's put our certainty on this at, what did you say, Bailey, earlier on? 98? 98.5?
98.
You cool with that, Omar?
Just 98.
Yeah, no,
All right.
absolutely.
So we just
98%.
Just there's that small chance that I don't know, that they did that to fuck with us.
Yes.
Oh, we can only hope. So is there anything before we close this bad boy out that y'all want to say about this episode or what you think is to come?
Do y'all think that next episode is very different in the sense that Loki's not going to be with Mobius? Like this is the kind of turn of the show now where, like, I assume that Lady Loki / Sylvia is going to be kind of like a main character from this point on because her and Loki are going to kind of be together. That's kind of where I assume they're going with it now.
I assume that Loki and Owen Wilson's character don't meet up again until the end. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I
want
don't think it's gonna happen until then. And once it gets to that point, it's gonna be this like huge fucking reunion. They might make out, they might not. I don't know, but it's gonna be epic. They're gonna fight together. Owen Wilson's character is, at some point Loki's
you think he's gonna die?
And then we'll see what happens.
Hope not.
But
I think
to keep it for next episode, obviously they're not gonna be together. And I think in terms of Loki, his journey, I think it's about to get a lot darker.
I think so too.
And he's gonna have to make some choices
But that's
on
the
whether
thing.
I don't know.
I think we're gonna only see Loki and Sylvie next episode. Like it's
Really?
just gonna be them two, and it's gonna be like her giving a walkthrough of explaining
How
everything
she got
that's
there.
going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine just letting Owen Wilson down on that level? Like, oh my God. Like you're like
I wouldn't
buddies
wanna
or
be the
whatever, and
person.
just you could hear his voice when Loki just looks at him and just
Oh.
pops through, and he's just like, damn it. It's like,
Okay.
oh man, my heart would be too much like, I know that going through the door is the only way to like guarantee my freedom maybe, but I just can't. I can't do it, man.
I don't even think that's why he left though. I think he left because he's very curious and he feels like he needs to catch this person. It's
I
not like
think
he's
he
trying to
did
escape.
too.
Who the fuck would want to leave Owen Wilson?
That's a good
Be
point.
That's the
honest, dude.
thing. I think he was like, if I don't follow her, we'll never find her again.
Right, like this is my only
And-
chance.
Yeah, so I think that's why he did it. But yeah, when Owen Wilson was full blown sprinting towards him, being like,
He was not running that
"Loki!"
fast. He could
I'm
run
just like,
faster.
Oh,
he
and
was,
got the
he was
jets,
stretching
dude.
those
We
legs
know.
as far as he could. And I also think there's a possibility at the end of the show we're gonna see Owen Wilson on a jet ski.
We have to.
That
putting it out
okay,
there
I would
now.
love that, but just imagine how weird that would look compared to everything else we've seen in the show.
It really
like just him on a fucking
Back
jet
on
ski
Earth.
with
It's
a
just-
yeah,
that's
it
it.
looks so fucking weird. Unless it'd be
man.
cool if we see like maybe later in the MCU in like a movie or something. I don't know.
He's the
He just,
like,
like,
Stan
pop-
Lee
like, they
cameo
sh-
basically.
They show a
Something
lake.
like that, yeah.
I'd adore
It's like
it.
there's a lake, and you just see like one measly jet ski coming across with like blonde hair flapping in the wind, and you're like,
Oh,
"That's
that'd be
him."
awesome.
His hair's
I would
blonde
love
all of a
that.
sudden? It's not gray anymore? He
Oh, he used to be
de-aged.
blonde when he was younger. I don't know. That's how I picture him. Is how I picture him in Wedding Crashers. So there we go.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so I am so excited for the next episode. We're gonna be halfway through the show. It's freaking crazy.
Wild.
Yeah, holy shit.
It's going by
So,
so fast.
I feel like it can only go up from here, but I might have just jinxed it. So everyone listen to this. Knock on whatever wood you're around. That'd be great.
Tables made of
But yeah,
glass.
guys, this was a blast. A blast. You said glass, so it was a blast. I'm done. We're ending this. So yeah, till next time. Wow.